Hello, my name's Terry and I'm a law abider. There's nothing I like more than getting fired up on beer. And Shotgun the Orcs is here for episode 7, Hip Hop Beef.
Thank you, Terry, or Jake.
Hi, I'm Jake, I'm back now. And that was a little street sample for Aidan, who's just come back from Brixton last night.
Yeah, how was that, man?
Yeah, I mean, you act like it's another country, but yeah.
You've come back from it, haven't you?
yeah, I went to the streets last night in London O2. It was the first time I've been to the O2 Academy in Brixton. Fucking sick venue.
It's good, isn't it?
It's like a castle inside.
Yeah.
Like.
And you're on like an incline as well. So
yeah.
Wherever you stood, you get a good view of the stage.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I've been to a lot of gigs, and that was probably one of the best gigs I've ever been to. I mean, Murkish Dave supporting, the Manor supporting as well. I don't know if you've heard the Manor before.
Never heard of them.
So the Manor, they're actually, I really like them, but think about sort of, I don't know, the way that I describe them is sort of football hooligan crossed with like lads at like a pub crossed with like garage music.
Alright,
You've got, if you haven't listened to them, listen to them. I'll chuck in like a little bit now.
Holiday day 1 I got messy. Holiday day 2 I got worse. Holiday day 3 man didn't go sleep. Day 4 I went home with a bird. Got chatting at Jet, met up at Amnesia. Said she felt bad.
So that's how they sound like. They're pretty good. But yeah, I mean the streets. You know, we all know nothing compares to the streets. The definition of an MC, mic controller, I would hands down say that I think Mike Skinner is the best MC there is. One of the best MCs there is.
That's quite the accolade.
And you know, he's the way he is, like when obviously the streets are the streets and they play their music and all the backing, and then Mike.
I thought the streets was an alias for Mike Skinner. I thought he was ultimately like he is the streets.
He is the streets, yeah.
I think he might be right, yeah. I mean, I'm not too sure, but he was really good, like saying what he was saying over the crowd, over the music behind him. And then what I thought was really cool as well, like I think like 5 minutes into the set, they were playing music and he was just like, he stopped it and he said into the crowd, he saw some guy in the front of the crowd, he's like, mate, you've got a jacket on, take off your jacket, you're going to get too hot, take it off. And the guy's giving him a jacket and he's just like, mate, you're wearing a fucking Stone Island jacket and you're going to get wet and you're going to get sweaty, mate. Give it here, I'll look after it. I don't know if you ever got it back. You probably did. But,
it's on Depop.
Mike Skinner, if you're listening, I'll take digs on that. So, jacket, please.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. Mike Skinner's he's a bit of a legend, man. I remember when that original Pirate Material first dropped.
Yeah.
I think I was about 15. It must have been 14, 15. And just every track on that it just stands out. It's so good. Like the irony of it all that Jake just did a rendition of in the intro.
I really fucking like that album.
Has it come to this? Like, don't mug yourself. He just kind of really kind of encapsulates that like grimy kind of pub going.
Yeah,
British
just true
vibe.
British music. That's what I like.
Yeah.
It proper represents like the British music scene.
And there's elements of all sorts of different types of music, isn't there? You've got that kind of West Indies type influence, but you've also got garage, you've got hip hop, it just has a bit of everything, man.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where he is from. I presume London.
I think he's from I think he's from Birmingham or something like that.
Yeah, he is from Birmingham.
Originally,
yeah, he is from Birmingham.
Just like looking, he is from Birmingham, but he's got, like you say, that very sort of British style, very proud British, and just like representing the scene. And he did bring on, I'll kick myself for not knowing the artists' names, but he did bring on 2 grime MCs as well, halfway through, and I thought that was really good as well. And obviously, like, they aren't well-known people, because I mean, I didn't really know him, so I'm saying I know fucking everyone, but I love how he proper supports the scene. And for example, like Murkish Dave, really talented guy, he was saying Mike saw him on the shows and basically telling him, I said, right, you're coming with me, like you're touring with me. He's basically like helped to carry his career. I mean, Murkish Dave is 6, so he does most of himself, but Mike Skinner's really given him a sort of platform there. So as a group and as a night, like it was.
I heard a Murkish Dave track after I think you talked about him on episode 1.
Yeah.
And the sample they used and the beat was Clips.
Yeah.
I think it was the grinding beat.
Right.
I thought that's unusual. I haven't really like that's such a like an odd beat to like pick like for him to sing over.
Yeah.
I thought it worked oddly.
It's interesting because it's sort of like garage crossed with a sort of bluesy sort of singing to it. Like it's strange, but I like how this sort of infusion, you know. And do you know what? I was thinking about it, and I think the next wave is going to be garage.
I think that as well.
I think the next wave is going to be garage.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you know, like people just do nothing.
Yeah.
When that first kind of came out, it was almost like weren't taking the piss out because they fully embraced the culture. Because like Seeper, to be fair, is like he can hold his own as an MC. He's sick, man. And but they kind of thought, well, you know, it's funny just like doing this comedy about people stuck in that era. The early 2000s, like garage and the way everything they wear. But that's just it's gone full circle.
Yeah, it's come back now.
And I shine and glisten when I'm on a mic, rhyme on a mission. Put a mic with my inclusion. Put a mic that street revolution. Put a mic, I'm letting the know. Word of the tongue, lyrical pro. Who's on the mic, letting the know.
Yeah, and next thing you know, like Oxide Neutrino will be what you hear in the radio. Bound for the band, bound for the reload.
I don't think it came back, and I mean, last week just in terms of like what I've been up to. Last week I was meant to go to Chester with Mrs. But fucking weather permitted that there was no point going because the risk that obviously in Bournemouth it's like a 5-hour drive up to Chester, so there was a risk it wasn't going to be open. So we had quite a good day. We just went to Bristol in the end. Big up, like really enjoyed going to Bristol. She used to live there, so it's good fun. You were like laughing at me.
No man, I just thought it was funny when you said you were taking your missus to the zoo for a birthday.
Well, no, like she's big into like she just loves it. I'm not.
animals.
Yeah.
I thought you were banned from the zoo.
Fucking but,
I heard you sucked off a horse.
but,
nerves.
So it's quite good because I got an excuse to go record shopping. Picked up that Brain Tax Bio Funk record, fucking sick record, and also finally managed to get the Res One Dogstream record. But you know what really fucking pissed me off actually, right?
What's that?
So I went to Rough Trade Records, Rough Trade, the shop in Bristol. And to be fair, they always got quite a lot of music, but I don't really like going there because it's always quite overpriced. But they had a bit of a sale on actually, so I managed to get a good deal. But so I got up to the desk to pay, and you know the records come in sleeves. And I mean the Res one that was brand new, but it was still in like a plastic sleeve. And then the Biofunk, obviously that was pre-owned, so that was in a plastic sleeve as well.
It's quite an old record now.
Yeah. So I was like, so he took out the sleeves to put them in a bag, and I was like, oh mate, can you leave the sleeves on? I want to take them. He's like, oh, sleeves cost extra. And I was like, okay, that's a bit weird. I've never been to a record shop where sleeves cost extra before. I was like, all right, how much extra?
It's an independent type shop though, right?
No, it's like they're based in like I think there's one in London as well. And there's
I think HMV charge for sleeves.
Yeah, but
I'm interested to see how much you're about to get charged here.
Well, no, it was only 50p.
Oh right,
for two sleeves, 50p.
Oh right, okay.
And obviously I was a bit like, okay, that's annoying. But then he took the records out of the sleeves. Was like, okay, I've got to go. They're 50p because I've got to go and get some like proper durable ones. I was like, oh, sound like I get good sleeves. And comes back. And then puts the records in the bag, then puts the sleeves in the bag separately. I was like, all right, well, you're a knob. I just fucking bought records off.
If you're listening, mate.
Yeah.
But you've been owned.
Then we go with to go and see like my missus' mate. She's a receptionist at a block of like student accommodation. We're sat in there and they're chatting away. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna sort out my records. Go into the bag, open up the bag, take out the sleeves. It was the same fucking sleeves. It was the original fucking sleeves that the records were in. And I was just like, you fucking kidding me?
Saw you coming, man.
You charged me £1 for the sleeves that are already fucking on the records, man. And oh man, I was raging. I wasn't gonna walk back up and say like, mate, fucking sort this shit out, give me like £1. But yeah.
Our resident cheapskate, Aidan, moaning over £1. But what have you guys been watching? Anything good at the moment?
Well. Can I just say what I've fucking had to witness on Netflix? The weirdest shit I've ever had to watch. Abducted in Plain Sight. I don't know if you boys have watched this yet.
I haven't watched it yet, no.
Please, I hope you're on my wavelength for this.
Oh mate, probably. It was weird.
Right. The family are fucking weird. Gullible as fuck. The dad sucks off the pedo.
He doesn't suck him off though.
Oh, sorry. He relieves him by giving him a round up.
Right, that is bullshit. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, and then the mum sleeps with him.
Yeah, so you need to give some context behind this before you start
learning
all about blowjobs.
So basically, Jay's been watching porn. And what happened, Jay?
No, I haven't. But so Abducted in Plain Sight is a real true story in the 70s about it was a family. He was married, wasn't he? I don't know if he had kids though. It was just him and his wife who moved in next door to the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he's a next door neighbour, and he he's like really really close with his neighbours. This family of husband, wife, and I think they're all girls, 3 girls, something like that, young children anyway. So this neighbour, this bloke, gets obsessed with their 12-year-old. Well, I think she was about 12 at the time.
Right.
So
I think she might have been younger when she first.
Yeah, probably a bit younger. So he's like a real do-good person. Like this family really like him. Like he's like at first like probably like an ideal neighbour.
Like
just neighbourly.
Ned Flanders.
He's Ned Flanders.
Idly ho, neighborinos.
Then he becomes a pedo.
No, I think he was already a pedo.
No, he was, yeah. Yeah, so he takes a liking to this 12-year-old girl, and basically, I think the story takes a turn when he basically takes her on a trip to New Mexico.
I mean, you're not really selling this to me, Jake. What the fuck?
I can't. I'm
this?
really shit at fucking describing things. I'll let Tom do it. He's fancy words.
He's like an ideal kind of neighborino, and he takes a liking to this couple's daughter, and he basically he's a master of manipulation. So he manipulates the parents. He ends up banging the mum, almost banging the dad, just to get close to their daughter. And then ends up abducting her twice. And because this was like in the 70s, before like kind of it was stranger danger, but nobody like the term kind of paedophile was loosely, it wasn't really referred to before that stage, right? So it's all about how he like brainwashed this girl and kidnapped her, etc., and the journey she went through. But she's still alive now, and she ended up. That's not a spoiler because you see her at the beginning, like being interviewed throughout the whole documentary.
Mad thing. It
is crazy, man. It's quite depressing. She does really well to like get over everything and make something of her life. But if you're up for an hour and a half of being really really fucking depressed, then I'd recommend it.
I just want the one other point I just want to make it is if a bloke said to me when I was 12-year-old that my dad was an alien, I would not fucking believe him.
The whole
moving on.
The whole alien story is mad, man.
Jake, would you do one for the team? Take one for the team.
We've already established he definitely would. With 50p, or was it 500 grand? Can't remember. I watched the Who Killed Jam Master Jay last night. Have you seen it?
Right.
The review?
I think I saw that advertised, but I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah, I've
Clue is in the name, really, but it's about obviously legendary DJ and producer Jam Master Jay from Run DMC. All about how he was really kind of well respected in the community, and how his murder is effectively still a mystery. Like nobody knows who did it. Well, obviously someone knows who did it, but like they haven't got to the bottom of it. And it's just all about the various kind of conspiracies behind it. It's worth a watch. I mean, it's kind of a cursory glance at the whole thing. I think it's about an hour long.
Right.
So if you know a lot about it, I'm not too sure if there's anything you can take from it. But it's actually quite sad, man. I mean, he was obviously a legend in terms of like producing and rocking the crowd. And yeah, I mean, it ties in quite nicely to our topic of conversation today, which is beef. Because it talks about how Jam Master Jay. Oh man, fucking hell, saw that coming. It's all about how he discovered 50 Cent. And one of the conspiracy theories is that the beef that 50 Cent had with Ja Rule got someone involved, and he was caught in kind of the crossfire. Well, not the crossfire, but he was that's just one of the theories. But it's worth checking out.
Oh, cool! I'll give it a watch. I'm going to probably stay away from the paedophile one, but that one sounds a bit more.
Honestly, mate, it's worth a watch. It's a shocker, that one. It is. It takes you on a journey. Can we talk about 21 Savage, just why it's in the news and quite relevant?
21 Savage.
Oh, you're governor.
Go on.
Alright, I just want to start with the fucking memes I've been seeing are absolutely legendary. And it was just one night on Twitter when it was kind of freshly happening. I was scrolling through and every other tweet was about 21 Savage, and it was just some absolute, excuse the pun, savagery tweets. But I don't think we should take away from the fact that it's actually quite serious what's going on here. And I've heard that he's been impounded for like 23 hours a day. No sunlight, no exercise or anything like that. It's got quite to a serious point and now Jay-Z's basically paying for a top class lawyer to help kind of get him out, kind of thing. But this is someone who's been living in America. You know how famous and big he is. He's a felon as well because he I don't know what happened, but he's been arrested before. He's gone through the whole US school system and everything, and it's only now that they've realised that his visa's run out or he's got the wrong visa or whatever the story is. But I don't know. I just think, how can it go that long without anyone picking up on it?
I know, man. It's quite nuts, but I guess just keep people will probably forgotten about it in a couple of weeks.
It'll be another. Well, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but I hope he just hops on a track with gigs or something, just like a London track.
I heard that the way he was quite an admirable person because he did a lot of charity work, helped the people out a lot.
Yeah.
He was quite a good guy, but then when you when it's then found out that you've lied about fucking what country you're from, you just have to kind of take a step back and just think, what the fuck, what else has this person lied about? Didn't he say that he took a gun to school or something?
I don't know, man.
To be honest, I haven't really looked too much into it, beneath the memes.
That's it, really.
Fucking best
Shotgun
memes.
the Orcs beneath the memes.
I mean, that's what.
Just very quickly, Super Bowl was obviously on Sunday. The Travis Scott did a performance. And I don't really want to talk a lot about that, but I just want to talk about the intro because I don't know if you've ever watched SpongeBob, but when they do that the SpongeBob dome thing where they do the whole band and SpongeBob's in the band and shit like that. Have you ever watched SpongeBob?
Yeah,
you know what I'm on about?
Yeah, man, I've seen it before. I don't remember those.
So
I watched SpongeBob, but this was a long time ago.
Yeah, he incorporates that into it, and it's really sick how it kind of merges with that and whatever, probably sicko mode or something. And then you see all these meteorites flying down, and then it cuts to the stadium, and so it kind of comes into that, and then all the pyrotechnics and fire coming up on the stadium. It looked just fucking sick.
Damn, man.
And no, I didn't watch the rest of it.
What did you enjoy more, that or the paedophile thing?
Oh, the pedo thing.
Definitely. It's quite the accolade. No, and to be fair to Jay, it is an interesting watch. It's a fascinating character study. Something I did watch, which was equally, if not more creepy, was the new Salad Fingers episode that came out.
You're quite into that, aren't you?
I fucking love it, man. And because I think I was obviously young when it first all came out. David Firth, legendary Flash player artist, and it's kind of hand in hand with drug culture. I just remember being stoned many a time watching those Salad Fingers cartoons, man. They're fucking amazing. And to watch this one in glorious HD, it's just it's mind blowing. And so Locust Toy Box, and even more importantly and more relevant to what we're talking about, you heard Flying Lotus? He's legendary producer in the States.
Yeah.
He did a track a couple of years ago called I think Never Catch Me with Kendrick Lamar.
Right.
And hands down, it's probably one of the best music videos I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's a work of art. It's a beautiful, beautiful music video, and the track is fucking dope as well.
Analyze my demise, I say I'm super anxious. Recognize I deprive this feeling, then embrace it. Vandalizing these bars only if they can talk.
But I thought, oh cool, I think they've collabed before on on weird little films and stuff like that. I can't remember the name of the film. I think it's Kuso. He did something with David Firth, but Salad Fingers, man, it's another level, man.
I remember watching that in school, and it was just everyone was just what the fuck is this shit?
Today I'm having a little get together with my friends. I've got a fish cooking in the oven.
Yeah, and that was so cool.
What you're going on about.
Oh man, well,
have you not seen it?
Rectify it, man. Salad Fingers is the tits.
I like rusty spoons.
I like it when the rusty water comes out of it.
I just remember the bit when he's touching the fucking stinging nettle.
He's rubbing it on his nipples and shit.
Yeah. His nipples start going weird and shit.
Oh man, it's so
You
nice.
like you into that sort of
like
stuff,
it, man.
Jay?
It's well funny. Also, like last week, I just want to call out like a couple of fucking things I got wrong last week. So
Fact check.
fact checked. So last week when we talked about sampling, I was talking about Glacial by Foreign Beggars, and the sample used was not actually Task Force Cosmic Gypsies. It was the Wicker Man Theory by Chester P. So same artist, just wrong song. Also, I was talking about that FKJ last week. I called them FKA Twigs, which is an entirely different artist. She's like a female artist from somewhere else. So yeah, fuck that one up. But you know, we do try here at Shotgun the Orcs. Anything else to talk about before we get into our topic of the day?
Yeah, I've got 10 more fact checks.
Okay.
No, I think that's everything. Oh, sorry to just shut you down there, Jake. Was there anything else you wanted to?
No.
You're not allowed to speak about anything else. Moving on.
One piece of news, obviously, is Takeshi 6ix9ine is probably going down for 47 years. Which, ironically, he'll be 69 when he comes out of prison.
No way, that's crazy.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
It was what was it? Racketeering.
It was all sorts, man.
Yeah,
all sorts.
Can I quickly mention something that we mentioned in the last podcast? You know that footballer that died on the plane crash, the Cardiff City footballer.
So he definitely died because I know they found.
I think they've basically just said they've confirmed he's died. They found the wreckage and they found one body which was going to Portland.
Oh shit! I didn't realise that confirmed yet. All I heard was they found the body and they're checking it.
Yeah. They haven't said who it is yet.
Right.
But get this right, and let me know your thoughts on this. So. Nantes, the French football team who he signed from. Nantes. Yes.
Sorry. Back to the pedo watch.
So they are now started to ask Cardiff for the first instalment for the transfer fee.
Oh, I heard about this.
Oh, sorry.
No, but that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're asking for the money.
Not even, the dust's not even settled yet. It's still quite high emotions.
Oh, man,
the body's not even been found. The records have just been found.
That's raw, man.
And they're kind of saying, you still owe us money for this footballer. I don't know what the transfer fee was, 25 million or something.
Because I was wondering about that. How does that
You'd probably write it off, wouldn't you? If you had any kind of ounce of decency.
Yeah. To be honest, I do think footballers are insured. As bad as kind of, I don't know, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he would be insured. There'd be some sort of insurance. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I was kind of blown away with that. I thought it's not the right time, and they're asking kind of,
That's really sad.
But yeah, I thought I'd bring that up because we did mention it last week, and it's still kind of topical. We're all about the topical conversation here at Shotgun the Orcs.
Yeah, happy, positive stuff, us.
Yeah, exactly. Paedophiles and plane crashes.
Let's move on to the finest cut of tenderloin. Hip-hop beef.
The Chateaubriand.
Looking forward to this one. So we'll head on to the topic. As usual, guys, follow, like, subscribe on Instagram and everything. Big us up on iTunes and rate and everything. And let's get on to hip-hop beef.
Moo.
Nice.
That's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. West side, bad boy killers. You know who the realest is, niggas. We bring it to.
Right, so this week, guys, we're talking about one of the kind of more controversial topics in hip hop music, which is, of course, beef. I'm not talking about steak. I'm not talking about beef and onion crisps. I'm talking about beef, unadulterated, kind of a feud between 1 and 2, 3, 4, maybe more artists, right? So this could stem from, say, a diss track, or it can be kind of just anything really that comes out of hip hop in general. So what we're going to do is, because we're aware that there's obviously a lot of material already out there on kind of some of the main beefs, like Park and Biggie, kind of the East Coast, West Coast stuff. So we're just going to have almost a cursory glance into that, right? And then go into more kind of more specific beefs that we're all individually interested in. Yeah. Does that sound good, lads?
I think that sounds quite good. It's hip hop beef's a strange thing, isn't it? Well, it's not a strange thing, but I think it is a huge part of hip hop, and it is sort of the essence of hip hop in a way. I think when it originated or hip hop, the beginning of hip hop. You just you think about rap battles,
Is that with Kanye West when you say the beginning of hip hop?
Yeah, the birth.
The birth.
The birth of hip
Lord
hop.
and Saviour.
Yeah, like the baby Jesus, you Kanye West and the three wise men turned up. That's the story I've always kind of known. Yeah, alright, cool. Yeah, just I'll make sure we're all singing off the same hymn tune here.
But that's like it's kind of to go back to the film like 8 Mile and the rap battle they have and that.
But I think that's like that's
smaller beefs, but like I know I'm not like going into the huge sort of beefs, but I'm just looking into the point I was just going to get across is it's all across.
100%, man. I think there's it's also like intent as well. Like some beef is legitimate, like violent beef, like it's personal, right? We'll touch upon some of that.
Yeah, it's violence
versus some more stuff which is just all in like the artistic spirit of hip hop music. Kind of it's kind of like kind of bragging. It's all bragging rights. It's all kind of like my hood's better than yours. I'm not like I spit better bars than you. That kind of shit and it could be for marketing reasons, right? We can get into this later on when we talk more about like modern day Twitter beef, etc. And how beef's evolved over time.
Could I start a question to throw the conversation and get it started?
Go
on. Are there rules to hip hop beef, and is there a point where you can actually cross the line with hip hop beef?
Well, I mean, obviously, like Park and B, prime example.
Don't kill the other person. That's the line.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that's like buried a lot of subsequent beefs, though. Do you know what I mean? One of the beefs I want to talk about in a short while is Ice Cube and Cypress Hill.
Yeah.
And I know that was eventually squashed because of Pac dying, and obviously they kind of thought enough is enough. But that could have got pretty grisly, and I'll go into that in a bit. But I think it's probably worth talking about like back in the 80s, some of like the early beef. Yeah. And it was almost like kind of misinterpreted, right? So you had like the Bridge Wars.
Right,
so
explain.
This is like Boogie Down Productions, like KRS-One versus the Juice Crew, like and Marley Marl.
Yeah.
So effectively, right, so the Juice Crew and Marley Marl, they released a track called The Bridge, and that was in 1985, and that kind of like, well, it was kind of misconstrued, and so like the guys from the Bronx, like Boogie Down, thought that they said, oh yeah, the Queens was the birth of hip hop. What are you talking about? But what he actually meant was, this is like the birth of our crew.
Right.
But because they kind of misinterpreted, they ended up having like a major beef over where the birth of hip hop rightly was. So it's kind of it's quite funny how it's just lost in translation. I don't know how kind of like if he was going back on himself or anything like that. But I thought that was quite interesting. Because then after that,
love to hear the story again and again of how it all got started way back when. The monument is right in your face. Sit and listen for a while to the name of the place.
Yeah, so he said it was kind of it began in Queens. I don't think he actually like meant to say it, but then obviously like Boogie Down took that as a diss, and then they subsequently released the track South Bronx.
Yeah.
And they had kind of back and forth for quite some time since it was eventually squashed. And even like LL Cool J got like roped into it because like MC Shan on like the B side of The Bridge, I think what was the track called, like Beat Biter or something like that. He called him out on that, so he got lumped into it. So it's always been kind of like, it's always happened since day dot, and it's always been about like turf or kind of bragging rights about something or another, which I think is kind of, I don't know, I just think it's quite interesting considering, as a movement you think, alright, why not just all support each other?
Yeah.
But I guess like you made the point, it's almost embedded in the culture. It almost like drives people to make music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it is because when you've got like proper sort of old school hip hop and even a lot of new school hip hop as well, it's like if you're gonna jump onto like another person's track or get a verse or whatever, or it's your turn to spit and you're doing like a little cypher or something like that, you come in, you big yourself up. And it's like, you're bigging yourself up and you're shooting down other MCs and you're talking about how your flow's better and everything like that. And it's always like...
It's competition based,
It's strange how... I think it's probably where like the early origins from it come. It's about getting on like over a beat, fucking just going on and just, saying your thing. And like going back to early on hip-hop, where the first... like 10 years, I don't know if it was 10-ish years of hip-hop isn't even fucking documented because it's people like jumping on over beats at house parties and raves and shit like that and saying their bits. And again, it's sort of the edge of beef going into sort of main beef. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, man. It is kind of just all like it's kind of jocking your opponent. Isn't it? It's just like I'm having you, and that is kind of that is like basically like the foundation of hip hop music to a certain extent.
Yeah.
It's all about I'm the most skilled, and you have to prove yourself. But then beef is kind of like when two personalities clash over something that can potentially be a bit more than just like a lyric.
Yeah.
So I mean, you talked about battling earlier, and that's very much like, you've got to have a lot of discipline to not like rise to someone in your face, kind of like slapping you off. But because they understand that that's kind of the art, that's kind of the craft that they do, and that's all part of it. But I think this kind of beef stuff is all more it is more personal, and it's all about the kind of like almost the background behind it all. There's a lot of a lot of egos, a lot of pride involved in this movement, and even though that early beef, like who invented hip hop, think how massive fucking hip hop is. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, Queens did it. It's like, wait a minute, it was Bronx. It's like, no, it wasn't. And then it escalated from then. But I mean, they've since squashed their beef. I know like KRS and Marley Marl even did like a record together, I think, in the mid 2000s. So it just all kind of fizzles out eventually, and they get older, and you think these are all kids. Do you know what I mean? When they all come out, they all come up. They're all kind of like late teens, early 20s, and they're all like full of energy, full of life. And if somebody's like questioning their integrity or whatnot, they're gonna obviously like kick up a fuss about it. Yeah. But some beef then escalates like tenfold, obviously, and you have like tragic killings like Park and Biggie. Obviously, there's kind of like conspiracy theories in the background that no one knows kind of the full ins and outs of. Obviously,
it's weird, isn't it? Because I'm sure everyone's watched a YouTube documentary or a Netflix documentary or other platforms are available. And, everyone kind of has seen like it's weird. Like was it a Bloods Crips thing? Was it a fucking CIA thing? Was it?
That's the thing, man.
Was it P Diddy?
Yeah,
Eminem called out.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? In the MGK disc.
Yeah, that was weird.
Damn,
right,
man.
that I think. Like,
some new information there.
Can we just go upon that? Like, where the fuck did that come from?
What the reference or the diss?
Well, probably the diss is very much beef, so we'll speak about that. But the reference, I want to know what the fuck that was about. Because nothing ever followed that afterwards, did it?
Yeah, man. Do you want to talk about that like later with the kind of newer
when
shit
we go into the
down?
stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll park in this one
because that comes on to kind of like your like internet and information age and how beef kind of takes a whole new like form. Do you know what I mean? Like whereas before it's
drive it in.
Yeah.
And park it.
I found a really tasty spot. I'm going to parallel park that Eminem disc for now. But going back to, I was just going to say actually, I'm someone who thrives on a hip hop beef, and I love it. Like to the point. I just like hearing. I think it just takes it to another level of being like really clever with your lyrics and how you go at someone and it's just the buzz around it, mate. So I am someone who I love a hip hop beef and quite a lot of my favourite hip hop tracks are fucking diss tracks of some sort. Take like Toy Soldiers for example. Not necessarily a diss track, but he talked a lot about. Eminem talks a lot of stuff about the Ja Rule beef, which we'll come on to.
It's a lot of like subliminals, isn't there?
Yeah. But to the point I was going to make about can you cross the line with a beef? So to start with that one, you know the lyrics. You just don't cross the line, and he crossed it. I heard him say Hailey's name on a song, and I just lost it.
Oh yeah.
Do you know the lyric I'm on about the Ja Rule lyric?
Yeah.
Do you, Aidan?
No.
So the Ja Rule lyric on which he says is I think it's Kim's a crackhead. Kim's a crackhead. Your mum's a well-known slut. So what Hailey gonna be when she grows up? So that's the diss. So obviously and then going just a bit more modern again. If you think of the Pusha T and Drake stuff, so he calls out OVO 40, who's got MS, and he basically says like, "Oh, OVO 40 hunched over like he's 80."
But that's always been kind of a theme as well. Like calling out. Like ailments and stuff, like remember Prodigy from Mobb Deep, and then like hit him up. Pat just doesn't even like. He's just like, don't you have like sickle cell or something?
Yeah.
And that's obviously like an iconic diss track. Hit him up, man. That's why I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker. Just absolutely amazing, man. But yeah, I think that's it. I think it's kind of a different age where beef lives now, and it's not always kind of like it's hard to tell what's genuine, what isn't. Like I think. With some of it, the stakes are genuinely real. Like I'll go into it a bit more now about after kind of the like NWA thing. So Ice Cube had beef with Cypress Hill. So what happened was like Be Real and Ice Cube were like really really tight, really good friends, and so Ice Cube was like, oh right, yeah, I'm making this film Friday, which we all know and love.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, be real, do you want to
You got knocked the fuck out!
yeah, man. And I was just bullshitting. And you know this, man. Miss Johnson. Anyway, fucking set me off, man. So basically, like Ice Cube nicked a Cypress Hill hook from "Throw Your Set in the Air," which is a sick track anyway, which is on the Temple of Boom album in '95. And he included it in the Friday soundtrack as a self-titled track, Friday. It's literally, if you hear them back to back, it's uncanny. It's not even like, he didn't even make it he didn't even try to make it sly. So, basically, like, I mean, Be Real, as I said, was really tight with Ice Cube. He went to his wedding and everything, you know, they were really good friends. And I think Be Real, they had a track for him. He originally was just like, okay, no, can I Throw Your Set in the Air? Because I really like it. He kind of like, you know, he had kind of a vested interest in it. And they were like, no, man, because Sony want to like market it as our like lead single from the album, so I can't let you have it, sorry. But then he went ahead and did it anyway. At first, Be Real heard about it and he was just like, no, man, not Ice Cube. Like, he couldn't have done that. Like, he's my boy. But then like DJ Muggs and Sendog like were like, fuck this guy, and then they dissed him on Power 106 radio.
Yeah.
So obviously that like. That like kicked off, right? So so there's been kind of numerous stories that kind of escalated from that. There's one story I think is probably bullshit, that there was this bloke called Solo who beat up Ice Cube and like stole his West Side Connection chain.
Really?
and it gave it, and they were passing it around at like Cypress Hill gigs and stuff like that. But I think, you know, he tried to like squash the beef in several occasions, and it was just fucking crazy because Cypress Hill really like well connected, like super well connected, like with like the like Mexican mafia. There's like another like, you know, SA gang, like Latin Kings and all that kind of thing, and they're part of the Bloods as well. So I think it probably could have ended up with Ice Cube getting whacked, unless it got well out of hand, man. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to yawn there because I'm not like tired. I'm not bored of like listening to you, man. I'm sorry, like it was a late one last night. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's all right, mate. I've taken that personally. So when
I think we got our first shot on the Orcs beef.
so when Cypress Hill heard him ripping off the track, they released a real fucking sick track called No Rest for the Wicked, which is a reference to Cube's 1993 track Wicked. And then Ice Cube subsequently released King of the Hill, obviously like a play on the name Cypress Hill.
Yeah.
And then Mac 10 was involved in that, and like, have you seen like interviews with Mac 10? He's just like, he's proper ghetto, man. He's just like, I don't care. He was just like on Cube's side. Like, it's just, if you watch any of the interviews with him, it's actually really amusing. And at one point, like Ice-T even like made a plea to like get them to squash the beef, but I think just because it was escalating into like almost like a race war with the Serrano gang and like the Mexican Kings against like the black community, it got that serious. So when, as I said earlier, when like Tupac died, they ended up like making peace. They thought, oh man, like we don't want this.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it, man. So that's kind of like that's kind of an example of, you know, when beef can go too far, but obviously they bury the hatchet in the end, which is good. But Cube also was involved in that beef with Common as well. Do you remember that?
Who?
Common. You know, he released that classic track, I Used to Love Her, like Hearing Every Rhyme.
Yeah.
And he kind of alludes that. So he goes through the history of hip hop. If you haven't heard the track, check it out. It's really, really good.
I'll give it a listen.
And he goes through kind of the different phases of hip hop, and he talks about like how like the West Coast like almost like turned it into like bastardized it, turned it to gangsta. And so I think Ice Cube and the West Coast West Side Connection like took offence to it.
Right.
Yeah. So they made a track, West Side Slaughterhouse, dissing Common, and then Common released The Bitch in You, which is like a reference to Ice Cube, and then after that they squashed it. But I mean, Common on the Roots album, I think it's Love of My Life Part 2, Act 2. He referenced it on there as well. Oh, it's cool.
it's crazy because beef can really, like, lyrically, it can really bring the best out of an artist, kind of.
Yeah,
definitely, man.
Like what they make like rhyme, because you know, like you say, like there's like Tupac where it's very much, you know, poetic. And he kind of speaks from the heart. Speaks about very political sort of rapper.
Yeah.
But then you've got on the other side, sort of like Biggie sort of style of person, which is very much like I would say quite similar to the sort of battle rapping. Very fucking lyrical, very rhythmical, rhymings, everything, and goes back to that sort of old age question: Biggie or Tupac?
Yeah.
Who would you say?
Nah, just can't answer it.
Not commenting.
Just I like them both for different reasons. I think like Biggie's a technically more gifted MC. I think Pac's more kind of, I guess, conscious and probably is more important. But it's just preference.
Yeah.
But I think what you said about, it's quite interesting actually about what you said about Tupac then. Like, oh, he can be quite political, he can have that kind of like, you know, quite conscious lyrics, etc. But then you go back to like Hit 'Em Up and he drops all that shit and he goes hard in on Biggie. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like,
that's true.
He's just like, nah, right, you know, enough of like Brenda's got a baby and I ain't mad at you and, and all that shit. It's just like, yeah, I fucked your bitch, you fat motherfucker.
In today's UK hip hop, or today's UK hip hop across last 10 years or so, is there any sort of UK hip hop beefs? Because I just think about it, I can't really think of any. I mean, not that, again, UK hip hop beefs aren't really a sort of main, like, big scale of sort of American beefs. I don't feel.
I think it's because like it's predominantly independent, and there's almost like it's a lot of love and a lot of support in the UK
there
scene.
isn't actually,
and it's quite similar in like the independent scene in the States because they have to like keep each other afloat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They all support each other. They all feature each other. That's true. It's not really in their best interest to start like a fucking war.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
right.
I don't know. That's just a way of looking at it, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's true.
I can think of grime beefs, but I can't think of hip hop.
I was going to say there's grime beefs, but I don't know enough about UK hip hop to say if there's a beef or not. So no point me commenting on that. But like grime beefs. Well, there's loads. I don't know if you want to talk about any, Aidan, or
one of my favourites is probably the Bugsy Malone and Chipmunk beef. Which I mean, their sound now, because there was a picture of them both together, like cool as fuck. But when it all started, like it was just, you know, back and forth. I think that was probably about 3 or 4 videos released by each person. And what I like really enjoyed about it was just like as soon as one of them was up, you know the other person saw it, you know, like, all right, what am I doing now? What am I writing? And it's not like a fuck they're sending out like how it was probably earlier on in the States, you know, right, get me back on radio or get me at this show and I'm gonna fucking go in on this person. It's like, right, video, like lyrics, I'm fucking going in, you know.
I think it's amazing when it comes to hip hop beef, the turnaround of records. Like literally, you can get a beef like on a Monday, and then by Wednesday the person's responded, and then it's literally the turnaround's way quick.
That's the internet for you.
Yeah. That's I think the modern day.
Yeah.
Like,
well, with YouTube, isn't it? Because I remember going back to the Machine Gun Kelly and Eminem beef. Like obviously, me and Jake worked together. It was literally every other day we was going in like, mate, did you fucking see it last night? Did you see what went out this morning?
Yeah.
Or did you like yes, mate, you fucking sick.
Eminem is like the master of beef, though, man. Like, you know, just his diss tracks are such a pleasure. Like, do you remember the Everlast beef he had? So the guy from House of Pain. Everlast.
Yeah.
I like Everlast, to be fair. Like, he released some kind of more like, I guess like country rap rock type stuff, which was not to everyone's taste, but I thought some of it was quite sick. So they had beef from like back in the day. Eminem released, what was the track called? Because there was Whitey's Revenge, wasn't there? That Everlast released.
Yeah.
And then there was the one where Eminem was basically like, you mentioned my daughter's name in a song again, I'm kill you. And then he rapped over.
He sings that bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he did a cover of Hit 'Em Up as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm just I just want to double check because I know exactly what we're on about.
I remember was one of the names of the Eminem tracks that he released.
There was a D12 one called Quitter, and that's the one that you're talking about where he sings. I'm looking that bit.
And then and I remember was more of like Eminem taking a piss out of Everlast, like strumming a guitar. because like most people know Everlast from House of Pain, you know, like Jump Around, and I think House of Pain released some really sick music in like the early to mid 90s.
Oh, they're great, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think they're very quite underrated. They're not really spoken about as much as they should be spoken about.
Oh, I agree, man. And I think obviously Everlast has gone on to do stuff with like the Coca Nostra with Slane and Ill Bill and DJ Muggs from Cypress Hill, and he's quite a cool guy, man. He was on Joe Rogan as well recently.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I've got to check that out. Actually.
He's a cool guy, man. He's but that beef was so funny. Eminem just fucking destroyed him, and I thought Whitey's Revenge was pretty hard.
Yeah.
Play a little bit of that now.
Here come the mighty, one they call Whitey. All you sons of Whitey are all dick riders. So won't that bitch Slim Shady please act up? Get smacked up.
But Eminem's response was even sicker, man.
You can diss me to jumpstart your career. I punch you in your fucking chest till your heart kicks in gear. And fuck you underground, buddy's nameless crew. Like I'ma say their names so they can be famous too.
I do think with like 99%, I don't know. Does Eminem lose a beef with anyone? I don't know. Well, Eminem he just brings a comical value to all of his rap beefs.
He bodied Benzino, didn't he? Editor of the Source magazine.
Yeah. There's a lot of reference to that on the Marshall Mathers LP.
Actually, I forgot about that recently. Yeah.
But I mean, the cannabis beef first of all. So this beef started because LL Cool J beefed with Cannabis, and Cannabis thought that one of the LL Cool J beefs, Eminem goes for it for.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. But obviously, then you got kind of bitch.
Oh man! So just quickly, just to go back to Eminem, we can't like not talk about ICP. Like,
I'm literally going into ICP now, man. I've got ICP here. So this is like a classic Detroit beef. Well, I call it Detroit beef. Eminem would on the Marshall Mathers LP on the song Marshall Mathers. Claim Detroit when you live 20 miles away. So I don't know where they're from, but obviously not Detroit.
Because they were called the Inner City Posse, and then they like dressed up as clowns and called themselves like the Insane Clown Posse.
So they came at Eminem with a song called Slim Anus.
Can I have the attention of your ass? My name is the Butt Sniffer.
Oh man!
You're damn right, Slim Anus. I don't give fucked in mine, man. Like two little flaming faggots.
Oh man, that was over. What song was it? My name is.
My name is, yeah. But when just like the whole of the Marshall Mathers LP, you've got all these Ken Kniff skits, which is like a Eminem alias. And you know, if you know what I'm on about, then you'll know the skit I'm on about, where it's oh, violent gay. Oh, fuck me, they're so funny. But I don't know, it goes on. And Proof actually ended that beef just before he died.
Really?
Yeah, Proof ended it. So I watched an interview with ICP, and they were like, "Yeah, it was Proof that kind of just
I think I
caused an end to it all." And it was just before he died. But one of my favourite Eminem beefs is with Mariah Carey. So it kind of got announced public on Superman that him and Mariah Carey had like a thing. But Mariah Carey denied it. She always denied it. She was married to like Nick Cannon, and they're divorced and that. And Eminem like referenced it, and then she came back with a diss track called what the fuck was that called?
You had one.
Oh, Obsessed with Me.
You had one job, Jay.
Yeah. Why are you so obsessed with me? And basically the video is like this Eminem lookalike stalking her around the streets. So Eminem responds with a diss to Mariah Carey called Warning. And it's one of my favourite disses. He goes in, but because Mariah Carey's like denied this relationship all this time, in this like final diss called The Warning, he releases like all these voicemails from Mariah Carey to him saying like, oh, you know, come over and all shit like that, like all these kind of like pet names for him. All released on like this at the end of this diss track, and I think that was basically it when it came to it. Like it just nothing happened after that, but it's one of my favourite beefs because it was just a bit. It's not hip hop artist versus hip hop artist. It's hip hop artist versus singer. So just a bit different.
Do you think, because Eminem never, I don't think I know of a beef that Eminem has lost. Do you think that Eminem will always do whatever it takes to win?
I think he's just talented.
He's just talented enough to win.
I think that's just his bread and butter, man.
Yeah.
I think he's just good at it.
There's a video on YouTube of like the game when it's like, and he's just sat there like being interviewed about something, and he's just like, I'll never diss Eminem because I know I'd never win, and like he's always gonna come back at me like 10 times worse. Speaking about the game, he's piped up on Instagram a lot recently, beefing with Fuck knows, can't remember now. Fuck that up.
Who was it that who was it that 50 Cent had that Instagram beef with?
It's Ja Rule.
Ja Rule.
Ja Rule, was it?
So 50 Cent Ja Rule is probably the longest going beef because it still fucking goes on.
He really hates him though.
Yeah.
You know, normally you can tell if it's just like, just all for marketing or all for like whatever. Like, I remember watching an interview and 50 Cent just looks so like genuine and he's just sincere. He just looks into the camera. He's just like, I really do not like that guy. He's just like,
fucking hates him.
He just hates him with like everything.
There's so
His
many
whole
Ja Rule
soul.
references on Get Rich or Die Trying, which as of yesterday was 16 years old. Happy birthday to 50's greatest album, fucking sick. But it all came from, before Get Rich or Die Trying dropped, 50 Cent was going to drop an album called Power of the Dollar, but that's when he got shot, so it never released because his label dropped him after he got shot. But you can still listen to Power of the Dollar, it's everywhere. If you've got that app called Dat Piff.
Yeah. I downloaded it after you recommended it, man.
So loads of mixtapes are on there, really, really good apps to
Remind me
download.
again what that app is.
Dat Piff. Dat
So
Piff.
what's the benefit of it?
It's just got all the mixtapes on there, so stuff you can't get on like your Spotify's, Apple Music. So like, for example, Kids mixtape, Eminem's Infinite album, J. Cole Friday Night Lights.
And why can't you get it on other platforms?
Because these are just mixtapes, they're not really
Mixtapes,
released on
man.
these
They're not-
Right.
Not
platforms.
commercial releases.
So where do they go? Where do they get released? Obviously that Piff, whereabouts?
It's the app called Dat Piff, and then
Yeah,
you've
but
got
whereabouts
what do you mean?
else would they get released?
Well, I don't know. These are just
You
people.
wouldn't, mate. You probably
no,
just download them on like,
Yeah.
Bearshare, LimeWire.
something like that.
Yeah.
Your classics.
Pirate Bay. But yeah, anyway, it's definitely worth downloading. 'Cause
Yeah.
all the Lil Wayne dedications are on there. It's just full of everything, mate. But yeah,
Question for you boys: what's your favourite diss track of all time, if you have one?
to be continued.
It's difficult, isn't it?
I think-
or
I
any,
think-
or any standout ones that you think, oh man, yeah, that was.
I've probably
that
mentioned
guy
them,
was
like
that guy was bodied.
yeah, I don't know. I've probably mentioned a lot of mine. Definitely Eminem ones because I do think he just bodies everyone, but it's also just like so comical with his rhymes and lyrics and just how he goes at people. Yeah, he just doesn't let it go, does he? Sometimes, like, just does not let it go until you are fully dead and buried in the dirt. We're talking about the bloke who fucking dissed his mum's. Disses everyone.
Have you ever watched the Blackpool grime scene?
No, man.
Have you seen
Grime scene?
Blackpool grime? Oh my!
As in like Blackpool Tower.
As in like the Pleasure Beach. They've
Yeah,
got their
yeah.
own scene, haven't they?
So they've in Blackpool. There's a huge grime scene.
Oh, nice.
And
It's fuck all else.
you've got to like watch it because it is literally just these kids. They're like fucking kids.
Yeah.
And they literally just go in on everyone and it's like 15-year-olds just going down on each other. Have you heard of Afghan Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's from Blackpool and that. Yeah, I can't remember who else. Who else? So Afghan Dan, they will do disses. So BG Media, that's who it is.
MC Smalley on there.
Yeah, that's who it is. That's
What? Are you kidding? What? MC Smalley, that's my name, gotta go with the flow, gotta play the game, gotta roll the dice once or twice, pushing and feeling nice, you got me good.
I am really impressed by that, Jake.
Damn, man, you've been practicing.
Yes, I was probably about year 7
yeah, you
when
said
that
it.
song
Oh,
came
no,
out on
no.
YouTube.
That was your
It was my party trick.
No, you know Little T?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who it is. So, see, when he first came out, and like these guys are fucking like young. Like, look at that guy. Like, I've shown like videos of BG
kids.
Media. This one guy called Bailey Kerslake, and he's got like this was released a year ago. It's got 180,000 views, and he looks about 10.
Do you know what that video reminds me of? And I don't know how to describe
Is it the ginger kid who doesn't have a soul?
The ginger kid who's begging for a toke on the cigarette in the music
Oh,
video.
no.
Yeah.
Do you know he's walking and you've got this kid with a really moppy long hair and they all start jumping off walls in the music video. One's wearing a Red England shirt and it's just like real shit fucking, I don't know what it is.
So what like point are you trying to make from a beef
Yeah,
perspective?
sorry.
I was just saying, like, when I used to watch, I've watched a few of them, and like, there's these ones where it's like this, like Millie B and Sophie Aspen beef, and they get fucking like violent. Like, Like they're good, like they're like, I'm gonna come and fucking like beat up your mum and shit like that, and like it's probably like cringy stuff. And
beat up your mum.
And
It's like ultimate diss.
I think this little T one. There was a Vice documentary. It was either Vice or Noisy when they got like some of them together. This guy just thought, I'm gonna get them together and just let them hash it out, and they're like just like how they just fucking send for each other. They just literally say like, I'm just gonna fucking kill your mum and shit like that, and like beat up your mum and like some really fucking horrible stuff for like 15-year-olds.
That's pretty raw, man.
But there's literally no point to my like ramble at all. I just thought it was fucking crazy. If you haven't seen it, check out the BG Media on YouTube and just watch the videos. Like they're fucking crazy.
What I was kind of boiling up to asking you guys the question, like the
Sorry.
ultimate beef track, right, before we went off on the main
Afghan Dan.
However, it was relevant in the end. But you can't talk about beef and not talk about No Vaseline by Ice Cube, man. That is like the ultimate fucking diss track against NWA.
How do you say Vaseline?
No Vaseline. What's that again?
Vaseline.
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 Vaseline. Vaseline.
Vaseline.
Vaseline.
Vaseline.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There's no Z in
I
it.
don't have any. No Vaseline. It doesn't matter, man.
Same Z on that.
Say how the fuck I want to say it.
Oh.
Aidan,
Might
mate.
start some beef.
Aidan, do you rub Vaseline on your chafing nipples?
Oh, I was literally about to say the same thing. I know you keep like a tumbler, don't you?
I do. I go running a lot, and if you run, you know what fucking runners' nipples are, and it's definitely worth just putting a bit of Vaseline on them.
In the summer, I do try and get into running, but I've never had that issue.
Honestly, mate, if you, I don't know, mate.
Runner's nipple.
I thought punching your mum was a tangent. This is a whole.
I hope you get runner's nipple. Talking about the best. This wasn't aimed at anyone. This track, but you know the Chance the Rapper and you know when he's just talking about. I hope you. Fucking,
oh yeah, the Action Bronson.
The Action Bronson. Yeah. And he's just
Baby Blue is the track.
The Baby Blue track
Yeah.
and the Chance the Rapper bit where he's just like
all
those kind of like really petty little things that he says, but they're just so funny.
That verse is jokes, man. I think it's hilarious. Have you heard that track, Baby Blue, Action Bronson featuring Chance the Rapper?
No, I haven't. I'll have to get a listen.
Listen, man, listen, yeah.
It's not like beef unless it's aimed towards like an X or something.
Anyway, back to Ice Cube's No Vaseline.
Yo, I'm gonna punch you in the face, you fucking cripple. I hope you go and get runner's nipple.
Shots have been fired.
I'm just baffled how amusing you found the way I pronounce Vaseline, but whatever.
What was that?
Do you know what diss track he's talking about?
What?
I want to talk. Yeah, is that different to the No Vaseline one?
I think it is, Jake. I'm gonna have to just correct it. I'm gonna have to go back and edit it.
You're gonna edit.
So in this part, Tom is actually referring to
Jake's dick smelling like Aidan shit.
Right, that's been right there. He's just gone into both of us.
That was a direct reference from the No Vaseline track.
Should we try and get along on this episode?
Right, before we all fall out, should we just move on?
It's too late for that, bitch. You want what?
I've got a hot cafetiere next to me.
We keep it middle class up in here.
Well, I'm drinking coffee and these boys are just drinking beers.
It's got to be done, man. You're nursing a cold, man. You've got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, if you can't already hear it.
See, we squashed the beef like adults here. It didn't resort to bloodshed.
We digress anyway. Right,
let's
get back onto topic.
No one was killed. There was no.
So how do you think not yet. How do you think that beef has evolved though? Because obviously before, as I said, there were stakes, like somebody could die. No pun intended, man.
Oh, when you said how do you think beef has evolved, I was going to say something about cows, but then you just fucking that was brilliant.
Jesus, oh fucking hell. So there were more stakes. However, now it all seems really petty. It's kind of like.
I think it's just evolved as social media evolves. I think.
But it's really petty. Stuff where you think, is that even real? The whole Drake and Kanye thing, and it was like Drake. Oh, apparently, he follows. Kanye was annoyed because Drake said, "Oh, I follow, Kim Kardashian on Twitter." It's everyone follows fucking Kim Kardashian on Twitter, man.
I think.
But I mean, I
don't. But
Kanye's about to drop something when he starts piping up online. And like you almost just think, all right, he's piping up again, because Drake's not responding to any of it. He's just kind of just like, he's almost just sat there saying, like, what the fuck is this bloke going on about?
He's probably too busy bagging his message. Shots fired.
Well, I think with the whole, I think social media is a fucking huge like factor in it now, especially with like current grime beefs. You know, it's a huge pride thing. You know, if someone fucking beefs against you, it's all over Twitter. You know, all over the YouTube comments. Everyone's fucking talking about how this guy fucking slammed this other person, and you've got to respond, or else that's your name tarnished.
It's reputation at stake.
I think it was fucking hell.
Oh dear.
I think
medium rare.
You know, very recently, very on topic. Shut up. We've got the Skepta Wiley beef.
Yes, yeah.
Which loosely is kind of revolved around, it was Wiley's birthday, held like a birthday bash thing, didn't turn up, a typical Wiley, you know, kind of not turning up to things. Skepta did turn up, apparently turned up to kind of squash this beef they've had over the years, blah blah blah, but Wiley didn't turn up, and then Skepta releases the song, can't remember the name, sorry, but what Wiley's obviously kind of not yet responded, I don't believe.
I think the one went out like recently last week,
right.
yeah.
But a lot of his stuff he was just tweeting, wasn't he? He was just kind of just saying shit on Twitter.
But that's why I think a lot of their beef hasn't. It's weird because a lot of their beef hasn't been like battle rapping and like songs released. It's just been literally like short Twitter videos where they just kind of just fucking flag each other off.
But it's like quite a few people have gone in on Wiley, haven't they? Like Dizzy Rascal did that old school track, targeting Wiley, and who else is it? Devlin had a Wiley diss track, didn't he, at one point?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I think, what's he doing?
I don't know.
I used to love Devlin.
He's man. Yeah. He's rusty.
Bud, Sweat and Beers.
Oh, mate, yeah.
I might go back and listen to that album tomorrow, actually.
Do you ever watch Don't Flop, Tom? Or
Yeah, I've watched.
There's been like a few like episodes of Don't Flop I've seen where it's gotten very, very close to like a brawl.
Do you know what, actually? I'm on that point. Obviously, we've talked a lot about, you know, rapper A releases a diss track, rapper B responds, and it goes back and forth like that. I was just thinking, like, did you ever listen, going a few years back, to Skepta's beef with Devilman? It's the DE development.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
A lot of that was if you go back and you kind of want to follow the whole diss, a lot of it's kind of, rather than releasing tracks at each other, which they did, but there's a lot of it where it's just face to face in I can't remember the YouTube channel that hosted it, but it's just in like this underground kind of like almost a basement kind of vibe. Loads of people there, and it's just like, it is like the Don't Flop kind of vibe. So they're both fucking going at each other in like freestyle dish battles. Like, it's so sick. I think Devilman's quite funny with his lyrics. Like, he's from Birmingham and he's just got such a strong accent.
I really like Devilman.
Like,
he's so fucking funny.
He's just really funny like grime artist.
What's the Skepta track called? It's nasty in it against Devilman.
Something like that. I haven't looked too much into it, but
was like Lady Lesher, or Lesher, whatever.
Lady Leisha.
Like,
I know that.
It's like, wasn't she like? Didn't she diss someone as well?
I think she has actually. Yeah, Lady Leisha's dissed a lot of people actually.
She's joking.
I think Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. Really, she's actually really talented. She's Birmingham, isn't she?
Yeah, Brummy. Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually really talented. I think as a rapper.
Have you boys ever watched the film One Day? I think I've mentioned this to you, but this was ages ago.
Yeah.
It's a grime film based in Birmingham about these two gangs in Birmingham, but it's basically like a grime musical because it's like they broke out into, rather than breaking out into song, they broke out into like fucking grime tracks. And it's two like it's a story about like two gangs going at each other. I have no fucking idea where you'll find it. Maybe on YouTube, but give it a watch. Like, trust, give it a watch.
No, that sounds good, man. I like that. Have you boys seen Bullet Boy as well with Asher D?
Yes.
That's quite an old film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite old, man.
I keep meaning to watch it. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good, man. It's kind of like the ending's kind of a lot like Carlito's Way. Like, I thought, oh right, that's kind of like almost like a UK version of it. But it's a cool little movie. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. But talking about like female beef, you know, like would you say, you know, the whole like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B thing?
Oh, I don't know.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you think like, obviously, I'm not sure how like genuine it is, and you think, well, why can't they both coexist You know, why have they got a beef against each other? Just because like one's quite like the other in terms of like the flow and they're all sassy and they're both like, you know.
I think then it is because there's so little female rappers. I think it's more a battle to be who's the best.
Yeah, who's
like the queen.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because like, you know, like back in the day, like there were so many fucking sick female rappers, like coming out of like the, you know, the golden era and the boom bap era, and they were always like equal. It was always like they could hold bar for bar with you know, with the fellas. You know what I mean? It's like, and it was always like, just look at fucking Lauryn Hill, man. Like she can, you know, she can, you know, spit with the rest of them, but then it all got kind of like poppy and gimmicky, and it's almost like, right, there can only be like one queen. It's like, why are you bringing that into it? Do you know what I mean? It's just,
do you know of any current female hip hop artists?
What, in the more kind of a grime scene, I guess, more so than
grime scene, but not really UK.
Is that Stefflon Don? What did you say? I don't know.
She's grime though.
Grime?
Yeah.
Just on that note, quickly, she's got a song with.
She's blowing up, man. She's like.
She's got a song. I want your boys' opinion on this with Wiley and Idris Elba. What do you think of his little bit at the end?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, he's a DJ as well, isn't it, Idris Elba? Like Big Driss, whatever.
Yeah.
Because he did. He came to like Sandbanks. You know that they do that like really pretentious little like yearly polo thing. I can't remember what it's called, but they have like an event down the beach, and he did a DJ set there this year.
Is that the Audi Polo?
Maybe.
The Sandbags?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah. But no, man, I heard the track. I thought it was like, I don't know.
I mean, really, it's not kind of like, I don't know, it's just one of those tracks that's obviously going to be repeated for about 1 billion times before everyone's sick of hearing it. But I don't know, it was just like, because I hear it all the time, and normally it's played in the morning, driving to work. The one extra DJ in the morning, can't remember her name, Lottie or Dottie or something. She was like, I fucking hate this, I hate his bit, I don't want to hear it again. I'm like, it's really fucking growing on me. I really like his bit at the end. I just like his really like really husky, grimy voice.
Yeah, he's a G though, isn't he?
He's such a.
It's weird how like a lot of people thought he was American originally. You know, he was in The Wire. He was like Stringer Bell.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
And he was in like what's it called? American Gangster, is it? You know, Denzel. And it wasn't until like later on people were like, oh shit, this guy's English. Like, what the hell? But yeah, going back to the whole kind of like beefing and bringing it into like the internet era. Do you think now it's kind of like it's very fickle? Like Aidan's point, he was like, right, you have to respond in a certain amount of time because information's instant now.
Yeah.
And if you don't appear to do it, it's kind of like, oh, you know, your reputation's constantly on the line, but it takes the kind of authenticity out of it. But do you think the creative output is as good as it used to be?
I don't know, because if you look at, I think of the Drake and Meek Mill diss, that started from a Meek Mill tweet about how Drake, I think he said that Drake had a ghostwriter for his verse on Meek Mill's album, and then I think, if I remember rightly, that was all kind of, until Back to Back release, which is a track I just want to kind of point on a minute, because that was a track that was, like, it blew up back to back. And I don't know if you've heard it, Aidan, or Eve. Well, I'd imagine you've heard it, Tom, but I don't know about Aidan. Give it a listen. But yeah, this track fucking blew up. But if I remember rightly, all of that was kind of done within a week. It was instant. It was, he tweeted. It came with Drake came out with whatever, and then Meek Mill responded, and Drake came out back to back. Bang, done. Or was it the other way around? I can't remember, but. Yeah, it was so quick, but that's because of the day and age we're in now.
I think the way we consume content is changing really quickly. I think everyone, unless it's current, people don't want to know.
People don't want to know.
It's either you're gonna, throw back to the originals, or you want to know what's happening.
Drake and Pusha T, that was done within like a week. I'm pretty sure. Like that was almost back-to-back releases.
To be fair, though, I think out of the more kind of modern beefs. That did seem to be more kind of personal.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean,
Pusha T really went in.
He went in like, if we're talking about, as I mentioned, over 40, hunched over like he's 80. That man is sick. Really goes in hard. But then he releases the whole Adonis, calls out Drake for his baby mama being a porn star, having this fucking secret kid that he's not told anyone about. The album cover was Drake in blackface. Pusha T went
the story of Aidan, man.
Yeah, over the Jay-Z Story of OJ track, which is a fucking
Great beat.
sick beat.
Light nigga, dark nigga, faux nigga, real nigga, rich nigga, poor nigga, house nigga, field nigga.
The infrared track as well, I think on Daytona was sick as well. I think like it didn't really fit in with the whole like. It's just my opinion. I don't think it flowed well in that particular album. It almost seemed like shoehorned in. But nevertheless, a fucking really good diss. But that's good because it's kind of like they thought about it. They're really like going in. They're trying to hit a nerve. Versus like, all right, we just want more views and likes and create a bit more buzz around it. Do you know what I mean? I think there's like, you know, I think beef's generated for two different reasons. There is like genuine like animosity between two parties, and then there's you know, like I just want to put my name out.
Yeah,
and then they're probably in collusion sometimes, aren't they, with each other? They're just like
100%.
Do you know what I mean? They're like, all right, you know, guys, like Drake and Kanye, man. I mean, they must be like, I mean, they're making bank anyway.
Yeah.
They're probably just like, yeah, man.
I think the Drake and Pusha, you could probably tell that was a bit more genuine, just about kind of like how hard kind of Pusha went, and Drake coming out afterwards in an interview saying, you know, like he's crossed the line with this because he's brought over 40 into it, and you know, then it obviously brings us that argument I've mentioned at the start. Is there a point where you cross the line when you start bringing in third parties who, you know, they're associates to the person, but they haven't. You know, they're not involved with it at all. Mm-hmm. You know, man has got MS. Like, I haven't done with it, but you're just gonna fucking start bringing them into this beef, and you know, you're really like punching below the waist, aren't you?
Yeah, I know, man. I mean, and normally it is in like the spirit of hip hop music, you know, in that competition, and like it's like don't flop. You know, you are like in your opponent's face. It's like going to battle, innit? It's just like But I think in a lot of like battle raps, they understand there's a mutual understanding that it is the sport, and it is like it is a competition between the two of them at that moment of time versus something that's actually personal and more kind of like, you know, enduring.
Yeah, well, you can't let yourself get sucked into it, because if you do, then, like, you know, if you're the person that starts kicking off, then you kind of just look like a mug in a sense that you can't. You're the one that can't really take the heat, so
exactly,
don't what you're doing in the game.
And do you notice in a lot of lyrics, particularly in like American stuff and in grime as well, it's like they almost like resort to like I think Everlast says in like Whitey's Revenge against Eminem, he's just like like I'll beat you up in the street, like I will actually do you like in a fight. Which to be fair, he probably could, but it's almost like, well, I can't really beat him lyrically, so I just have to like resort to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what it is.
Also, there's kind of an entertainment side of it, you know, bigging it up, because I've seen in the Red Bull, I think it's called Grimercide that they do.
Yeah.
There's this one like artist that I follow. His name is J-O-1-1. Let me just quickly figure out his name. J-O-1-1-7. Mm-hmm. And he's a grime MC from Bristol. Really fucking talented guy. And he does a lot of these like Grimercide battles, and you know, I think there's one coming up soon, and then on his like Instagram and stuff, he's always posting like videos and like not like malicious sort of stuff, just like taking the piss, like, you know, I'm coming for you. And I think he posted this really fucking funny video recently. It was like him in like a boxing ring with some other guy.
It's provocative.
It's funny stuff, you know. It's entertaining. I mean, like, it might not have been boxing ring. I might have got that completely wrong, but it was something similar to that. But it's entertaining, you know. It's like it brings up a buzz. You don't want it to be malicious, but you want it to be like fun and like going towards the edge, but not crossing the line, but on stand getting to the line. You know, you want it to be like fucking hell. Like, did he just say that?
But you're watching the Defiant ones at the moment, aren't you? With the whole Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre documentary.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how far you've gotten into it, but they talk about when Jimmy Iovine first starts getting involved with Dre. It's like, obviously he's had a background in like rock music. He's met like, you know, produced like John Lennon and like, Bruce Springsteen and people like that, and like what's her name from Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac. And then when he's involved in the kind of with Dr. Dre, he first starts getting a view into this kind of, you know, this culture where it's like gang violence and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, damn man, this is legit. This is real stuff. Like, there's gangbangers in the background. Usually, like, you got the rappers who are like the mouthpiece for the gangs. But then you got like all their henchmen behind them who they kind of bring them up, and they're like, well, you're not they look up to the rappers and they're just like, well, yeah, man, I'm your boy. I'll take a bullet for you. I'll go down for you. Do you know what I mean? So it's nuts. And like,
he talks about Death Row Records, doesn't he? I think there's a story in there about maybe Suge Knight or something along those lines where, because I don't know if he meets Dre as he's kind of leaving Death Row and starting to go.
Because then he sets up Aftermath, doesn't he?
Yeah, so I don't know at what point him and Jimmy Iovine meet, but I'm pretty sure Jimmy Iovine...
It was during.
Yeah.
So, he was at Death Row.
So there's this story about, obviously, Suge Knight and how... I think that's probably what Tom was just saying, how he was like, oh, shit, like, this is fucking gangster shit.
Yeah, he kind of, like, realised the gravity of the situations, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was life and death, it wasn't just, like, Twitter beef.
Like you see in the Straight Outta Compton film.
Yeah, passions were high, man.
Passions were high.
But I saw a really funny meme a little while back, and it was just like, it's funny how like rap beef and like diss tracks are basically two grown men like sat in separate rooms writing poetry about each other.
That's a really funny way to look at it.
Yeah, no, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird, but it's also kind of cool. It's like the pen is mightier than the sword, as they say. Profound notes to
no, but it's entertaining,
discussion.
You know, and I think there's so much more that you can say about rap.
Always, man. That's the thing. I mean, there's a myriad of stuff out there. There's fucking loads of stuff online about all this stuff. So, again, like, feel free to point out anything we might have missed or not.
Oh, there's fucking loads of shit.
Yeah, man. I won't
pull us up on facts that we got wrong.
Yeah, I won't lose any sleep. If anyone wants to just like text me saying Vaseline over and over again. Yeah. But yeah, obviously, like, email us, message us on Instagram, Facebook, the works, Twitter, @Shotgun the Orcs. Send us your beats. Obviously, send us a message beforehand. We want to hear your music.
Yes.
Just join the discussion, guys. We want to hear feedback. We want to know what we can do better.
Get rid of Jake.
Oh, what?
Elocution lessons for Tom who can't pronounce Vaseline. And yeah.
Sick. And
are we going to like talk about some drops and stuff, or like?
Yeah. So just some sort of fashion aspect quickly. Just some of the drops that we know are coming up. So I think Nike MX Day is coming up soon.
So MX Day is end of March. I could never remember the date. It's like 24th, 26th, something along those lines. Interested actually on MX Day this year. So last year Nike ran a competition in like New York, London, like Korea. Basically, was to go to your Nike flagship store. So obviously ours is in London, Oxford Street, Nike Town, and they set up these, like, I think they were called like Nike Labs or something. So basically you go in there and it was your chance to design your own Nike Air Max. So you could choose from any of your favourite Nike silhouettes, the 97, the 90, Air Max 1, whatever you wanted, and basically design your own Air Max, but to kind of represent your city of where you're from.
Oh, cool, man.
So obviously...
Bournemouth.
I secured a place to go, but it was obviously in London, and it was like a midweek thing. So obviously, I work, and I just never went. Obviously, I'm not from London, so really.
So
Jake, can I just say, right? I'm actually genuinely surprised you haven't brought up Bournemouth's 4-0 victory over Chelsea yet.
Oh shit! I forgot to mention that in the news. We'll come to that very last.
If you were going to design a pair of shoes to represent Bournemouth, how would you design them?
What would I put on it? Probably like. It'd probably be like something to do with like the yellow buses. I don't know.
not like the nice beaches and stuff. Just like
I don't know.
Shit yellow buses. Yeah.
That's all I think about when I'm just like walking around Bournemouth for the yellow buses.
Right, mate. I was on a bus today.
Or the tramps.
Aidan and Jake, fan of buses.
So yeah. Anyway, so this massive competition went on. I don't know if any of you boys know who Tommy Mallet is. He's probably more.
Is he related to Jimmy Mallet? Is it Timmy Mallet? Fuck knows.
So he originates. I'm just going to say he originates from Towie, but I don't want to. He's more than that. He's really fucking.
Can you elaborate?
And everyone.
What's Towie?
Towie being the only way is Essex.
We've just lost all our listeners.
I'm just going to say that. He originates from that, but he's way more than that. He's got his own brand of footwear out called Mallets, and they're a really sick shoe. I don't own a pair, but I do like him, and I think just he's really in touch with his whole fashion. Just like
how much is he paying you for this plug?
If you're listening, Tommy, big me up. But anyway, he went to the Night Town in London. He designed a pair. I think they were 97s, but he put his design on Instagram. I don't think he actually ended up winning. Well, he didn't actually, to be fair. But he had a sick pair of. He went actually. To be fair, I think he went with the whole underground system. Like
Did he?
Like Adidas did the collab with TFL. I think he went with a similar idea with putting the underground on a pair of Nikes.
You're quite into your like trains and shoes.
I keep banging on about them, don't I? That's, actually, to be fair, if I do a pair of shoes, it's going to be the Bournemouth X Southwestern Rail.
Mine's going to be the M1.
The M1 Buster Pool. So anyway, what the point I'm getting at is Air Max Day this year are the finalists. So the London finalists, the New York, and there's some really fucking sick designs. And they're all dropping on Air Max Day. And they're all just really designs to represent the their city. I remember the New York one is based around the yellow cab. So I think it was just like. Yellow obviously. The Korean one was like something to do with like neon lights. They're a pair of 97s, look real fucking sick. So yeah, they're dropping. And what I'm also hoping to drop on Air Max Day is another pair of 720s. So last year I copped the 270s, Air Max 270s Cactus. And I'm hoping they probably do something similar with the 720s. You two are looking at me, you don't have a fucking clue what I'm about.
Damn man, it's like sat with Rain Man in it. I'm just like 720, 1, 2, 3, 8.
Just saying numbers, man.
You got so many shoes, man. It's commendable.
Yeah, so that's Air Max. I'm just wearing it.
That's just Air Max.
I haven't really got much to say on Adidas at the moment. To be fair, sorry Adidas, I just don't.
Yeah, I saw as well. They've got those new Yeezy things coming out. New Yeezy trousers coming out soon.
Okay, Adidas, you are getting a mention with your collaboration with Kanye West. Yeezy. Are these the Calabasas trousers?
The Calabasas track pants.
Track pants, right? So this is probably like the fourth one that he's released now. Can you show me him quickly? Because I've actually seen them.
So
they look the same as all the other releases.
Like. Normal. They literally look like ones I've got, but I've just got normal Adidas.
Yeah, normal Adidas trackies. Calabasas written down the side.
To say how much they
I think they're about £100.
£100.
Which,
fuck.
You know, if you're comparing it to the Yeezy range, i.e. like Yeezy season 1, 2 and whatever, where their track pants are probably like £1 billion, reasonably priced for Yeezy.
Hey, these the Adidas Continental 80s, they're quite nice, aren't they?
Yeah, they're actually really fucking fresh.
That's the first time I've seen those.
So Calabasas also teamed up or paired up with the Continental 80s. So there's also the Calabasas ones of them. I think they were about £70 or something. They were actually like fairly cheap, in all honesty.
How many at this time? Right, how many pairs of shoes do you own?
I don't know, about 20 maybe. I don't know. I've got a lot of Janoskis. A lot of them are just Janoskis.
3 pairs.
One of Aidan's pairs are my old Reebok Classics, which I gave to him.
Yeah.
I'm going over to for my honeymoon. I'm going and doing a little road trip around the States and starting off in for the most part it's going to be California. So if there's any drops coming out around the time, just give me a shout.
You're going to go to the cannabis shops over there?
Hell yeah, man! It's legal, isn't it, over there?
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what you can bring?
It's like a nice little nightcap, you know. Just
Can you bring me back?
Substitute the old brandy and whiskey for
a bottle of Old English 40. I love that drink, man.
It's like proper, it's proper grimy though, isn't it? Like it's not. Is it quite easy to get hold of? Isn't it? It's like a 40.
I'd imagine you just walk into a store.
Yeah. Brown bag.
Pick up a bottle of 40 and put it in your suitcase and bring it back with you.
Malt liquor.
I mean, we'll
and a can of malt liquor.
We can all sit around the table and drink a bottle of 40.
Hell yeah, man.
And we can pour some on the ground for our homies that aren't with us anymore.
Don't do it in my living room. But
no, we'll go outside with it, obviously. From my homies that ain't here.
Yeah, we'll have another glass underneath. Glass.
Cheapskate Jake.
Yeah, it's like my chronic OCD will set in. I'm just like freaking out.
I can see on your screen there, Aidan, the Adidas Bape collaboration that dropped yesterday.
Which ones are those?
So these are the Ultra Boosts.
So Adidas Consortium Cost of Bape Super Bowl collection.
Sold out completely straight away.
They're like a camo sort of look, aren't they?
They're really fucking sick look, but yeah, obviously collab with Bape. And then today the Nike Off-White collaboration, the 10 dropped. So a rendition of the Air Max 90. they're probably the best one in my opinion. I've obviously sold out again straight away.
Are these those trainers you was talking about?
The baked ones, yeah.
Yeah, because my homeboy Steve, the guy who does the podcast in Finland, I mentioned.
Oh, big up Steve.
Big up the others podcast. So yeah, he's selling on behalf of another mate.
I saw the ones that he posted on
this
that.
collab, yeah.
Does he just want to give me him?
I don't think so. Mate.
Are they in a size
They're
8?
like
No,
200
6.5 UK. So if you're like a midget.
Oh yeah, you're talking like your feet need to probably be about 5.5 because you need to go size up with Ultra Boost. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, like 6.5. Like I wear an 8 because I'm a 7. I've got tiny
But
feet.
if anyone is interested, and hit up my boy Steve Penny on Instagram.
We're taking 10% of all. Got to start somewhere, boys.
Shameless plug of the day. So yeah, are we gonna wrap up there then, gents?
Yeah, we'll wrap up. We'll stop right there then, guys.
Aidan's weird end voice.
Goes up an octave for some reason.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. I'm sorry for sounding like a fucking idiot.
Don't have a cow, man.
I am pretty poorly this week with a cold, but
I hope you enjoyed the
a bit more normal next week.
The beef episode served up with a lovely side of peppercorn sauce.
Oh, fucking hell, of course, someone had to say it, didn't they? Jake's been waiting all fucking episode.
Just thinking of beef puns.
We've got a really cool episode coming next week. I'm not going to say much now, but we've got a special guest coming on.
We've got a guest coming up, so we'll just we'll park that there and tune in next week to find out who.
Hopefully. It'd be pretty awkward if they don't come. But yeah, again, thank you guys. Follow, like, subscribe, do whatever. Tell your friends, tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your nan.
Please leave a review.
Yes, thank you. Tell your guardian. You know.
Tell your legal guardians.
Right.
All right, that's a wrap. Let's
Say
get out of
thank
it,
you. Good night.
Good
Goodbye. I'll just leave that there.
That's a moo point.
Oh, fuck's sake.